about also how to build self-confidence and self-esteem? Because this is part of, obviously, post-breakup, but also part of general well-being in life. So I know it's one interest of yours. So what do you think about that, and how can people do that, and how can it help them going forward?
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting. I always think about self-esteem as in terms of, I think we're born, I'm going to sort of start at the beginning really here. So I think we're born feeling okay, if you like, not that we know how we feel, but we're born feeling okay. And then, we need to get our sense of self, if you like, reflected back to us. So from our caregivers, like mum and dad, or whoever's looking after us when we're at time. And if mum and dad are present, if they're emotionally available, if they're, it might just be mum or it might just be dad. But we need sort of good enough, nurturing, love, mirroring, it's called psychologically. So we get our sense of self as a little baby, as a child, from that parent or that caregiver reflecting back to us the message that you're okay, Now, a lot of the time that's interrupted. So, I don't know, mum and dad's relationship might be difficult. Someone might be ensnared in addiction. Perhaps there's a lot of conflict, a lot of tension. Perhaps there's a lot of trauma. So what happens because of that? We get separated from our sense of self and all these difficult things that happen. And trauma doesn't have to be, the very obvious things around abuse, that kind of thing. It can be that perhaps mum or dad just weren't particularly loving, weren't good at showing love. They were just because their own stuff that's gone on. So what happens is, it's like we almost separate from our true nature, and then we start to believe that the lack of love or nurturing, or the bad things that happen to us when we were small, or difficult things that happen, mean that's who we are. So I work a lot with trauma, and obviously trauma, anyone who's gone through trauma will have self-esteem issues. They go hand in hand. And we start to think that the things that happen to us are who we are. That's the biggest, because we're a child, we don't realise. So then we start to become, it almost, part of us breaks off, and it almost becomes like the collapsed self. So we start to believe, I'm not good enough, I'm unworthy, I'm defective, there's something wrong with me. And then we create some really unhelpful mental habits that a lot of people who struggle with self-esteem will have. So we compare and despair. We look at other people and we tell ourselves we're not good enough. So then from there we think, I don't want to feel like this. So we try and create a better life. Do you see what I mean? So we might think, well, I'm going to get really fit, or I'm going to get the boyfriend, I'm going to get the girlfriend, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do all these things to make myself feel better. But if you've got these kind of underlying beliefs about yourself, such as I'm not good enough, I'm defective, we can add all this, that, the other. That's where imposter syndrome comes in, right? We can get all the baubles, we can get the car, the man, the woman, the house, the job, the fame, but we've still got these really old unconscious beliefs sitting there saying you're still not good enough. And then people respond to the external. They're like, oh, aren't you doing well? Or aren't you gorgeous? Or aren't you this? But we're inside, we can feel like that. We've got self-esteem issues. So the work is always to look at, what's going on underneath. That's what I would say at a deep level. That's how you work with it. What did you start to believe about yourself? Because a lot of the beliefs we have about ourselves, we came to when we were like 5.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So mummy and daddy break up and we think, oh, I'm a bad girl, it's my fault, and then it sits there, and half the time clients come in and they're talking about self-esteem, and then I said, it's linked to this, and they say, but what's it got to do with that? That was like 30, 40 years ago. And I said, there's no time in the subconscious.
Yeah. I heard that before.
It's the truest thing about the subconscious. It's such a different animal to the conscious mind. So with self-esteem, you've got to look at the beliefs that drive underneath it. That's on a deeper level. Of course, on a kind of conscious level, in terms of how you're taking care of yourself on a daily basis, it's about having good boundaries. It's about really understanding what's your full body yes, what's your full body no. Looking at, sometimes self-esteem and people-pleasing go hand in hand. I've had to really work on people-pleasing. I still do, actually. But, if you feel like something's a no and you say yes, then you're going to feel resentful if you do it. And then you're abandoning yourself on a daily basis.
Of course.
And it's all about self-care, isn't it? It's about looking after yourself in all those ways. And we can do lots of really wonderful things, like you talked about, amazing, transforming someone's smile to build your self-esteem. But it's such a broad... It's a broad church, isn't it? Look after your health, look after your boundaries, look after your sleep, your nutrition, be kind to yourself, look at how you talk to yourself. Because half the time we talk to ourselves in a way we would never talk to someone we didn't even like, let alone...
Yeah, like the inner dialogue.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's interesting, those things, because one thing that I... my childhood as well was very interesting childhood. My father is now on his 4th partner, 3 ex-wives. So, it was an interesting family history.
Yes.
But one thing that my father did, which was really good, and I think made a big difference in my life, he would always say, "Oh, I love you very much,
That's so
my
good.
son, and you can do anything you want to do."
Oh, that's amazing. So, what a wonderful message.
And a gift, really, because it took that through my life, and I think one of the reasons that, I've been able to do things that I have done is because I had that confidence to believe. So I do think it's important that you, if you can, if you do have children, to do that, and also, even with your friends and your partner, to say, you're special, you're amazing, and I really think of you in this high way.
Yes.
And you can do anything you want.
Yeah, exactly. We need others champion us, and we need to champion ourselves, and we need to champion others.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't we? And there's so many people don't get when they're growing up. And there's loads of really good things that came from my childhood, like tenacity and creativity and all of those things. And it was, my dad very much brought me up to, he would just, me and my sister, he would take us out into the woods and we'd do all these wonderful things. So it was, a really exciting time as well. There was a lot of sort of freedom, I guess.